De-extinction of dinosaurs. We have to hit this right now.
No one's ever brought back an animal like this before. And I think there's a lot of curiosity about how will they act.
Is this a legitimate woolly mammoth or is it edited DNA?
Well, that's a very good debate. There are some in the scientific community that say, no, you're just making what's called a chimera.
Probably already doing it, but cloning human beings.
Wow. Let's just say
de-extinction of dinosaurs. We have to hit this right now.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? How's it going to end up?
Well, many people focus, of course, on what we call the kind of marquee element of that, which is de-extincting the woolly mammoth. We're not going to de-extinct dinosaurs. The DNA is too fractured. It's too old. The real value in a company like Colossal Biosciences are the tools that they're developing in order to manipulate things at the genetic level. That company is developing tools that will allow us to do large edits on DNA of mammalian species, but also others. And it's those tools that are extremely valuable. It will allow us to conserve animals that are critically endangered. It's a heck of a lot easier to preserve an existing species than to bring one back that's already extinct. So animals where there are only a handful left, we can preserve their DNA and potentially in the future synthetically create healthy populations, which would make extinction hopefully a thing of the past when we fully develop the tools. So Colossal really is a technology company. It's just that all the attention is placed on the dire wolves or the dodo bird or the physical manifestations of these incredible tools they're developing. But as a venture capitalist, I'm most interested in the tools. Astroforge is the same way, where they're trying to mine asteroids in space. But the real value of Astroforge, yes, they'll potentially get money back from bringing platinum group metals back to Earth. But if you can go to an asteroid, land on it, and scrape it for some metals, project that 20 or 30 or 40 years in the future. The technology tools you're developing to do that have immense applications for space exploration, space colonization, any number of other things. It's the tools that are valuable.
With the woolly mammoth, I mean, so would that be, when that comes back, and I have no idea how far
2028,
along.
I think, is the current projected timeline.
2028?
Yeah.
So is this a legitimate woolly mammoth or is it edited DNA?
Well, that's a very good debate. There are some in the scientific community that say, no, you're just making what's called a chimera. You're taking an existing species and injecting some genetics that make it look like a woolly mammoth. It's not a real woolly mammoth or a real direwolf because it doesn't have the identical or very close to identical DNA of the original. And I think that one could argue that they have a point. But it goes back to the old saw, right? If something looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, eats like a duck, I think it's a duck. And what is important is that we are able to create species that can fill a niche, like the Tasmanian tiger that was eliminated by mankind. It was exterminated, and it unbalanced the ecosystem in Tasmania. If we can bring back an animal that functions like the Tasmanian tiger did in the ecosystem, I think that's a big win, even if at a purely scientific level, it doesn't have exactly the same DNA as the one that was exterminated. There is value into what they're doing, I think.
I mean, so with the dire wolf, I mean, where is that wolf now? What are they doing with it?
It's in the United States.
It's in the United
It's
States.
Carefully guarded preserve in the United States. And I think there's good reason is that they want to keep the animals isolated so they can study them. No one's ever brought back an animal like this before. And I think there's a lot of curiosity about how will they act purely out of their own genetics.
See, that's where I was going, is what is the species instinct? Is it been?
We don't know. There's so much in terms of animal husbandry of those animals that we simply don't know. Will they know how to be a dire wolf? How will they hunt? Will they hunt like a gray wolf, or will they hunt differently than a gray wolf where they're descended from? We don't know. And that's why, in many respects, it's a great science experiment. And there's a little joke that Colossal really isn't in the business of producing dire wolves. It's in the production of PhDs, because there's so many new things happening that they're doing that have never been done before.
Yeah. I mean, is there any info on, how it's going? I mean, do we know, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, do we know how the dire wolf's behavior was before we do we have any idea of what their behavior was, as an extinct animal? And will we be able to observe, some of those
Yeah, I'm speaking
commonalities?
way out of my expertise level. I'm not an animal expert or any kind of expert on dire wolves. Obviously, we've never seen one in the wild. They died 10,000 plus years ago. All we have is the fossil record from the Brea tar pits and other places like that. But we know what they look like. We know probably what they hunted based on what was inside of them. And I'm not sure exactly what we're going to be able to learn, but I guarantee you it'll be new.
Yeah.
And I do know that they want to build a few more to have a functioning pack. And the only other thing I've heard is that they're getting quite big.
Yeah, I'll bet.
More than a few people have said, so Victor, you're an investor in Colossal. Are you going to get to have a direwolf? And I said, yeah, right. I want a 120-pound killing machine in my backyard. I don't think so.
Man, I can't wait to hear about that woolly mammoth. That's going to be,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Hopefully that works well, but, and it could be delayed. You never know. This is genetics. It's not easy. And they take a year to gestate. It's an elephant, but that would be a big event. I'm looking forward to the dodo bird.
When's that?
That hopefully, well, I don't know exactly when, I can't say, but it's maybe on similar timeline for the woolly mammoth, I hope.
Right on.
But beautiful animal, obviously extincted by mankind unnaturally, and it's just a cute bird.
Are there any animals that have gone extinct in recent history that we have data on, we have their behavior on that they'll be able to bring back?
Well, the Tasmanian tiger was close. I think it went extinct in the 1920s. So we actually had really good DNA from them because they had preserved their remains. And it was in a zoo in Tasmania. So we did see how they acted. And there may even still be people alive that saw them in the wild. So we're not sure. So that's probably the closest.
Wow, that'll be interesting. Is that on the agenda?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Damn,
we're working
that's
closely
awesome.
with the Australian government because they want it brought back and reintroduced because it unbalanced the ecosystem in Tasmania.
How did it unbalance it?
Well, they put a bounty out on them because they thought that they were a pest. So they shot them all to death. And then when you lose the apex predator in an ecosystem, you end up getting overpopulation of what they were predating on, what they were eating. And that can lead to overgrazing. When you overgraze, you're reducing the amount of tension in the soil caused by the root system of the shrubs that they're eating, which causes rivers to literally change course. There's a wonderful documentary on YouTube that shows what happened when they reintroduced gray wolves into Yellowstone. I suggest anybody watching it because it shows how transformational just adding a few apex predators were to that ecosystem. It literally changed the course of rivers as they brought down the population of the elk and caribou that they were eating, and there was not as much overgrazing. So more foliage came back. More species came back. Beavers came back. They started damming the rivers, and things started changing that made a more healthy environment.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah.
That's
And
incredible.
that's what we're hoping can happen with the woolly mammoth, with the Tasmanian tiger, with a lot of these other de-extincted species.
Do you think they'll just be reintroduced into the wild?
Carefully, yes.
I mean,
Yeah, we'll have to be extremely careful about that. But there are so many bioethicists and brilliant people on the board of Colossal that are doing this. And a lot of people said, we shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be playing with genetics at that level, de-extincting species. If we don't do it here in the United States, actually in my hometown of Dallas, other countries will do it first.
mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, in some respects, some of the greatest advances in human history. They can be dangerous and they can be incredibly beneficial. I trust our culture and I trust our people to do it well.
Yeah, that's an interesting argument. I mean, we shouldn't be playing with genetics, but we probably shouldn't be, extincting animals either.
It's a
So,
tool that humankind needs in its toolbox. If we extinct a species deliberately or by accident, that's a good tool to have in our toolbox to be able to bring it back. What if we find out that we've extincted a species that we really need for the health of the planet to support 8 billion people on the planet?
mm-hmm.
And we look in the toolbox and there's nothing that can undo it. That would not be a good day.
What do you think about, the fears of, probably already doing it, but cloning human beings?
Wow. Let's just say there's nothing that makes it impossible. We've cloned other mammal species.
Mm-hmm.
So one just has to wonder, has it already been done yet in certain countries? But will it happen one day? I can't imagine it won't.
Yeah, I'm sure it will, if it hasn't already.
Correct.
I mean, I am very interested to see, the instincts, if those come back with these animals. That would be,
Oh, well,
because you just wonder, how much do they learn through adolescence, from
nature and nurture.
their biological parents, and I mean, that's going to be a fascinating discussion when we get there.
Oh, here's another element that isn't widely discussed, but another key technology that Colossal is trying to develop is artificial wombs for mammals.
Artificial what?
Wombs. So you can grow the animals not in a surrogate animal. The dire wolves that were birthed were brought into being using a canine species. But Colossal understands to get more scale, to get more animals, you would actually have to build artificial wombs. This is out of Brave New World. Okay? If you can do it for a mammal, we're mammals too. There are a lot of next steps that come after that with human infertility and other things that I think would be societally profound. I'll just leave it at that.
Right on, right on. No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.